Hello. So I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about um, what hinders you from knowing yourself. What is it that makes it difficult for you to align, come into oneness with your identity? And that's what I'm going to be doing today. So as I tick each one off, I want you to look at your own life and think about it and see if there's any of the things that I say today that resonates with you. The idea is for you to become aware and to see if you can begin to make the right choices and come closer and closer to who God says that you are. All right. And again, if this is the first video of mine that you're watching on the identity series, I'd like to encourage you to go back and watch from the very beginning because that's where it will make sense to you. Okay, you can watch this and finish, and then, but do go back and watch the rest of it. You would find it very beneficial, and then you'll be able to make the connections to what I'm saying. So the first thing that hinders you from knowing yourself is that you don't know who you are, and and really a lot of us struggle with that. A lot of us don't know who we are, who we should be, right? Or maybe I should say who we should be, because for many of us, we still haven't come into um, that place of who we are. So we're still on a journey, okay? And the truth is, we're constantly learning and constantly adjusting. But for I dare say most people, they haven't quite started the journey. So we're patterning our lives based on what other people expect of us. So as children, it's our parents, maybe our teachers, and then you get married is your spouse, and then your boss at work, and then society. We never really come to that place where we're asking the question, the person who puts me on this planet, who does he say that I am? And that's what this whole identity series is about, because until you come into alignment with your creator, you're going to be using other people's manual to run your life. And that is the reality of a lot of people in the world. And that's why our world is so broken, right? So we don't align with our identity because we don't even know what it is. And I've spoken a lot about what our identity is. So please go back to previous videos to help you understand what this is. So we don't know who we are. And then for some people, they did get to know themselves. They started to walk in alignment with who they are. But then maybe something happened, and then the pain, the trauma made them to forget. So maybe somebody was abused, sexually abused, raped, and then that sweetness, that gentleness, that um kindness was all lost. And it's like they completely forgot who they were, and they adopted, assumed a different personality. Now they are so hard, they are mean, they are, distrustful of the world. They have a wall up. And maybe this was someone that people just, were naturally drawn to, but now this person repels everybody. Nobody wants to be around you. And then it begins to confirm the new picture you have of the world, that the world is not safe. So for some people, they haven't even come into the knowledge of who they are. But for some other people, they've come into it. Maybe their parents told them, grow up in a loving home, and the parents told them, this is who you are. This is, opening their eyes to their purpose on earth. And they had a healthy self-esteem, and then something happened. Or maybe they lost a parent or lost both parents, maybe death or a divorce, and that just shattered their reality. And now they've assumed a completely different um, mindset, different personality, and they've strayed from their purpose. So those are reasons why people might, not identify with their true self. Another reason is we may hold on to a particular identity rigidly, right? So we're not flexible. We're not open to correction. So for instance, there might be somebody who, maybe there's a certain way you treat people that is not nice, and you just feel like, look, that is who I am. take me or leave me. That kind of attitude prevents you from seeing what is possible. Because if you have this take me or leave me attitude, you're not going to open yourself up to everything that God says you are. And most times, people who have that attitude are coming from a place of pain. So they've been hurt so many times that they feel like they have to constantly protect themselves. So they have this don't tell me, what to do. You are nobody to tell me what to do. I live my life on my own terms. Many times when you hear people talk like that, it's coming because something has happened in the past. So it's sort of similar to what I said. But here I'm emphasizing that some people become rigid and they don't even want to discuss, you know, um, they don't want to discuss their behavior. They don't want to discuss this identity. Some people want to have this tough girl image, tough boy image. And so you see them begin to gravitate towards maybe gangs, because it gives them a tough boy, tough girl attitude, and nobody can talk to them about it. And when you're in that place, it's even difficult for God, because God is not going to come down, you know. So he's going to send somebody to speak to you. He's going to prompt you to read his word. And so even when you read his word with that kind of attitude, you're going to read it through the filters of your mind. And more often than not, you won't get anything that God is saying to you from his word. It could also be holding a feeling of unworthiness. So you might feel like you're not worthy. And no matter what anybody tells you, you feel like, oh, they are just trying to be nice. And you just hold on to that feeling of unworthiness. For some people, they do it because they just need people to constantly reassure them. So their identity is tied to your reassurances, so they are quick to put themselves down because it just feels good to hear people say, no, now, don't talk about yourself like that. You're really beautiful. Don't you know how skilled you are? They just want to, they just want to keep hearing and hearing it. But you have to come to a place where that well is bubbling from within you. Because let me tell you, people are going to get tired of reassuring you, because the person that is reassuring you also needs reassurances sometimes. And sometimes they are not in the mood to reassure you because they are dealing with stuff. So you have to get to a place where that well of confidence in the person that created you is inside you, and you can cause it to well up and bubble and fill you and quench your thirst, and then begin to feel other people. And that's where you remove attention from yourself and you begin to look at other people's needs and begin to help them. And that is where God is taking all of us. But if you just remain in this place, this is who I am, and nobody can tell me how to be, this is, you will not grow. And it is very likely that you're going to be struggling with anxiety or depression, because these things come together. All right. Thirdly, we what hinders us is that we compare ourselves. This one is a major, major problem. In fact, parents compare their children to other people. So it's very common to hear parents say things like, does anyone else have that type of your school bag in your class? Does anyone else have that type of your water bottle in your... So from as young as that. So of course the child is growing up thinking that my value is based, or my identity is based on, what I have. And so they are judging themselves based on what they have that other people don't have. And so when we compare ourselves, it doesn't allow us to see who we are. Because even if we are walking in alignment with who we are, we're going to feel inadequate because society is telling us otherwise. Our peers are telling us otherwise. The music industry is telling us otherwise. The movie industry is telling us otherwise. And because we're not drawing our source from God, we become confused. So we want to be like this celebrity today. We want to be like that person tomorrow. We want to be like this one tomorrow. And then that confusion just grips us. And it makes it difficult for us to know who we are, right? Another reason, and like I said earlier, I want you to just see if there's any of this that resonates with you, because if it does, it means that help has come and you can begin to, make the choices to return to who God says you are. Another reason is we don't know how deep God's love for us is. And this is something again, and I'm going to say a prayer here again. Lord, I ask that you will open our eyes to truly, truly see how deep your love for us is. You said in your word that you are passionately concerned for us. You are zealous for us. You're passionately concerned for us. Lord, I pray for everyone watching that you will open their eyes to see how passionately concerned you are for them, to understand that you truly, deeply love them, and that their peace is in you. And Lord, I ask, oh God, that as they listen, as they watch, oh God, that you will touch their hearts and begin to draw them back to you. Lord, I thank you. All right. So people don't know how much God loves them. And so, because, and this is something that I struggled with, like, I just couldn't comprehend it. I just always had this feeling that God was angry with me. So, I was constantly, if I do any, if I feel like if I felt like I'd made a mistake and then maybe something bad happens to me, I'll be like, oh, God must be punishing me for such and such and such a thing that I did. But God is more eager to bless. God is more eager to show mercy than to punish. And so the lack of understanding of God's love makes it difficult for us to understand, what He has called us to be. And even when we see it in scriptures, we try to run away from it because we feel like, no, this God, He doesn't have my back. Let me try and figure it out by myself. At least I can control what I'm doing. But if we understand the deep love that God has for us, it causes us to, pull towards Him. And, like I said, in pulling towards Him, you're pulling towards yourself and you're becoming more aligned, more at peace, more, having more clarity about who you are and where you're headed in life. Another thing, and I think I've sort of talked about this a bit, are past pains. So when something bad has happened to you in the past, you tend to begin to look at the world through the eyes of pain. So you were in a relationship, or maybe two relationships, three relationships, and they all went bad. You just tend to think, oh, all men are scum. Oh, all women are ATM machines. Oh, this. Don't show a woman that you love her. Oh, fear women, and you don't understand that it is your pain that is speaking. And what people don't do is to step back and ask themselves, what is it about me that, attracts people like that hurts me? They don't do that, but then they just form this picture. And then maybe 2 3 years later, they meet somebody and say, look, I don't want you to hurt me the way the last person. That's not enough, right? So you need to look at your pain and understand that something happened to you and it needs to be dealt with. And most times you can't deal with your pain in isolation. You need help. So therapy comes in. And earlier, I said earlier that there are some places that therapy cannot reach. God will help you in those regards. There's the opening of our eyes that He does, that helps us to see how much of a healer that He is. And then lastly, we don't love all the parts of ourselves like God does. In knowing the love of God for you, you get to also love every part of yourself, knowing that you've been accepted by God. It just makes it easy to accept yourself. So one reason people don't know who they are is that they are hiding. There are portions of themselves that they are hiding. All right. So we're gradually winding um, down with the identity series. Um, so in the next one, I'm going to be talking about why are we the way we are. So I'll be talking about our conditioning and how we've ended up the way we are and how we can begin to walk into our identity, our real identity, not the one that the world has concocted for us. Okay, so again, I hope you found this very helpful. So you know what to do: subscribe, share, like, and especially if this has been helpful for you. So I'll see you again in the next video. Bye.